Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. In the last video, we attached the insertion lace to both sides of the bonnet top and side, and also to the back piece. I also, because this back piece is going to have a definite top and a definite bottom, with my fabric marking pen, I wrote the word T-O-P, top. And the way I chose my top was I was looking for the direction the little leaves were pointing, and I want the leaves to be pointing up on the back of the bonnet when the baby is wearing it. So what we need to do is we need to, before we can start to attach the edging lace around the edge of the garment, we need to finish off these left and right sides of the top piece, and we need to finish off the bottom of the back piece. So I'm going to start with the top and side pieces, and what I want to do is, because I'm going to have lace going all around all four sides of this rectangle and three sides of the back rectangle. So in order to attach some lace, I need to have another strip of entredot on either end of the bonnet piece and along the bottom of the back piece. So I've got I'm going to set my machine back to a straight stitch because I was just zigzagging. I've got my ecru thread in still. Okay. Now I'm going to carefully, can you see this? I'm going to overlap the entredot ladder with the two perpendicular pieces of entredot now, just very, very slightly. And then I'll pin that into place. And I'm going to pin, okay, now this, where I overlapped it, it's not on the inside entredot ladder, it's on the outside entredot ladder. And I'm going to put a couple of pins to hold this entredot in place. And when I get over here to my outside entredot ladder again, I'm going to take my scissors and just trim my entredot to where it just overlaps at a 40 or a 90 degree angle the outside ladder of the first piece of entredot, and put another pin in. And then I'm going to use the technique of attaching entredot to flat fabric, okay, and attach the entredot to the edge of the bonnet. So I'm going to lower my needle so that I make sure that I am right next to the entredot ladder. I'm going to do a couple of stitches to tack that end down, and then taking my pins out as I come to it, I'm going to sew a straight seam and attach this piece of entredot to the bottom or one of the side edges of the top side piece of the bonnet. Okay, now when I get to the edge, the end of the entredot that I'm sewing in, I'm going to do a couple of forward and back stitches just to tack it into place. Clip my threads. Okay, now just like normal when we attach entredot, I need to go to the ironing board and I'm going to iron back. And notice I'm folding over that other piece of entredot too, because I'm going to zigzag along this entredot seam just like I normally do, but that'll take me a minute to get that ironed. Okay, so I have that ironed back, and as you can see, the entredot lines up with the outside edge of the entredot ladder and turns that corner. So I'm going to zigzag my newest piece of entredot to the bonnet using a zigzag. And, you know, whatever size stitch works for you to sew entredot and fabric together. So I'm going to start by zigzagging, not going too fast, because it's a little bit tricky when you go over this folded piece of entredot. And you want to stay going in the entredot ladder on the right side and just catching the fold of the garment on the left side. And then go forward and backward and tack it down when you get to the other end. Okay, so I can clip my threads again. Okay, and using my specialty scissors again. And once again, every time I mention these, I'll provide that link just in case you have not been able to get acquire some specialty scissors. But I'm going to use that to trim this seam away from the inside of the garment. And when you get to that entredot, it's a little, you're going to have to cut carefully because it's a little bit thicker right there. And we're cutting through our pin tucks. Cut the entredot again. Stay lined up with our zigzag line. Okay. I've got that entredot sewn to the edge of the garment. I need to repeat this process down at the other end, and then I need to repeat this process at the bottom of the back piece. So that'll take me a couple minutes to get that done. All right, so I have sewn my entredot onto both ends of my top side piece and along the bottom of my back piece. I've used my specialty scissors to trim the seam away. And once again, I'll put a link down below in the video description for some specialty scissors. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, because in the next video, we're going to actually be attaching the lace to the bonnet, but we need to finish preparing the entredot. So using my embroidery scissors, I'm going to carefully cut next to the entredot ladder on the outside edge and cut the excess batiste away. But that'll take me a minute to do the top and side piece and the back piece. Okay, so I have trimmed my excess entredot off of the 3 sides of the back piece and off of all 4 sides of the top side piece. And as you can see, my entredot now creates a 90-degree angle going around the edge of the garment. So in the next video, we'll begin to attach the lace to the edging lace to the bonnet. And just kind of keeping in mind that we're using a Moline lace, and it is one-sided. It has fuzzies on one side, so we're going to have to pay particular attention to what we're doing. And once again, I'll put a link to the specialty scissors down below in the video description. Thank you.